Good day, everybody. Well, today I want to talk about risk. Risk and OSHA. Two words that most people don't really deal with unless they own a business or you're in human resources. So, first of all, what's risk? Well, anytime you hire somebody, you take a risk. You take a risk that they're going to get hurt, for one. They can also leave. You take a risk that they can sue you. There's a lot of risk that you have whenever you hire somebody to work for you. But today, we're going to talk about the risk that deals with if somebody gets hurt. Years ago, early 1970s, a law was passed because if an employee got sick, they could sue you for a considerable amount of money. In some ways, it can bankrupt a company. There was this tacit agreement that the government came to with businesses and with employees and said, if you get injured on the job, your employer has a responsibility to fix you in a way. I always say fix you, but to repair what has been injured. And in some cases, by the way, they have to keep you on employment until you get better. But in some ways, you don't get better. You may have gotten injured on the job and can't work in that job again. So they have a duty to rehabilitate you, to do something else, and also to compensate you in a way. Believe it or not, the amount of money you get if you get injured on a job is not great. Not enough that if you kept working. But it is something. So, from an employer perspective, they cap the amount of money that it would cost them if somebody got injured on the job. From an employee perspective, they don't lose their job, at least not right away, and they get a chance to be fixed through medicine, whatever it may take. And then if they aren't going to be able to be fixed, then they can be retrained for another job or compensated in a way for the injury that they've had. So it's this tacit agreement. That's what OSHA does. To ensure that employers create a workplace that doesn't lead to, or at least prevents a high prevalence of injuries, OSHA goes around and does audits. We call them OSHA audits, pretty straightforward. They do these OSHA audits to make sure that the employers are creating a workplace that is conducive to the health of their employees. This includes things like safety trainings and making sure that you have first aid kits. So that's the rule of OSHA. Why it comes into risk is because what the government is trying to do is lower the risk of someone getting injured with the thought that if somebody does become injured, then there would be some compensation for that. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's discussion on OSHA. It's a little primer on it. You could certainly look more if you want to learn more about the subject, but it gives you a background, and importantly, I really wanted to talk about this agreement between labor and management. Have a great day, everybody. Always look forward to our next discussion.